Hello po. Hello po and very good morning. Today is Saturday and I hope you're enjoying your weekend. And marami pong nangyari this week regarding our vaccines since we had our first vaccine talk po entitled Smallpox, the first vaccine, and then we had the second vaccine talk po about bakuna, 5 reasons why. So today po, we're going to accept questions and do a short discussion po on Sinovac, which is the Chinese vaccine po, which arrived in the Philippines last Monday, and nag-umpisa na po yung vaccination po at the Philippine General Hospital and around the Philippines. So, good morning. My name is Dr. Ana York Bondok. Ako po ay isang internal medicine specialist. I'm also a subspecialist po in pulmonary and ICU medicine. I'm also an expert in barangay matters, being the wife of a mayor and a 3-term congressman. Ako rin po ay the mommy po of an 8-year-old. So today, we're going to discuss Sinovac or Sinovac it ba? Ang galing, ano? So please follow us. Please like and share po kung meron pong mga nagwa-wonder, nako-concern, nawo-worried, nagagalit. Kung meron, it's okay. We are here to help you understand it. So please follow us po on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is called Dr. Ana York Bondok. Kulang pa po yung subscribers namin, so we're asking po for your help to help us. So please put your questions down below. Meron na pong nagpadala ng ibang questions. Miss Kat, Miss Reina, please pick up the questions from the previous days. Again, I'm sorry for the delay. This was supposed to be much earlier during the week. Kaya lang po, mahirap ang buhay ng nanay. Maraming trabaho. And also, yesterday, bumigay po yung internet namin. So I think our moderators are ready, Miss Kat, and I don't know what happened to the internet of Miss Reina, but we'll try to do our best po to answer your questions regarding Sinovac. So, Sinovac it ba? Bakit ba daming galit? So, let's see. So, we'll do a short discussion. Please remove the questions. And tingnan lang po natin muna kung ano po ang nangyayari about this vaccine. And 2 days ago, dumating na rin po yung AstraZeneca. And we'll do a short, we can accept a few questions and a short summary po about what's happening also. So primarily, ang unang dumating po sa Pilipinas is Sinovac. Okay? So, ano ba ang Sinovac? Okay, and where did it come from? And why is it the first vaccine in the Philippines? Okay? So Sinovac was made by a private company po in China. And that private company is actually called Sinovac. Okay? And the technology of Sinovac was made using the oldest technology po in vaccination. Well, actually the second oldest. So Sinovac po is made from inactivated COVID vaccines. And the oldest technology po in vaccines is actually the live vaccine. What is the meaning po of live vaccine? As I've been explaining to everyone, ang live vaccine po talaga, that's when we will get COVID from a patient. Literal po tayong kukuha ng COVID sa isang pasyente and we inject it into the person that we want to vaccinate. That is actually the oldest technology. The next, but that is no longer used kasi po live nga po yung COVID or whatever na gusto po nating i-inject doon sa pasyente, and it has been known to cause disease. The most famous live vaccine po talaga before used was the one against polio. And the first vaccine for polio was actually a live vaccine. So may nagkaka-polio po from the live vaccine. But our Sinovac po uses inactivated COVID, which they took COVID samples for different patients po all over the world. And they finally settled po on a COVID sample from Chinese patients. They took this COVID. They only take one and then they grew it po in the monkey kidney cells. So pinadami po nila yon. They grew a lot of COVID in the lab inside a monkey kidney cell. And then they inactivated all this COVID that they grew. So they used po a chemical called beta-propriolactone. This is a very old, ano po, 1940s pa po ito. This is a technology done many times before. So basically, as I mentioned to you, they got COVID from a Chinese patient. They grew it po in monkey kidney cells. They killed the COVID using a chemical, and then that is what they included po in the vaccine. So it is now an inactivated COVID vaccine. When they grew the COVID in the monkey kidney cells po, the proteins remained intact. And as they killed it, buo pa rin ho yung buong protein po ng COVID. And it was just inactivated but still whole. And then this inactivated virus was combined po with an adjuvant. Again, that's an old technology, and the adjuvants are known to stimulate the immune system. So that is the principle behind Sinovac. Okay, so it uses dead viruses. So what's the vaccine timeline po? How was Sinovac developed? Minadali ba to? When? Where? Okay. So this is primarily po from an article in the New York Times which explains Sinovac. On June 2020, work on the Sinovac vaccine started po in China. And in June to July, the first phase 1 and phase 2 trials po were conducted on 743 volunteers in different areas po of China. So 743 people po joined these trials. This is the phase 1 and phase 2. What is phase 1 and phase 2? Ito po yung to find out talaga kung safe siya and if it's working. Okay? So of the 700 and first one is they find out po talaga is safety kasi we can't have a vaccine naman po na nakakapatay ng tao. So the first one was the 743 volunteers po, and they had minimal side effects and no adverse effects. So in July po, they started the phase 3 trials. What is phase 3? Phase 1, very small number. Phase 2, naging 743 na nga po. Phase 3, there's a whole lot of other people joining the trials. And so they conducted this po in 3 countries. These 3 countries were Brazil, Indonesia, and Turkey. So they conducted po the phase 3 trials on volunteers again in Brazil, Indonesia, and Turkey. So at that time po, around September to October, the emergency use, EUA, emergency use authority in China was given by the Chinese government. And they started to use Sinovac on Chinese citizens. And currently, they are vaccinating po in China. Okay? In October, at first, because most of the trials were done po on healthy volunteers, yung wala pong sakit, they only injected healthy persons, young and healthy persons. However, in October, in the city of Jiangxing, they started giving it na rin po to higher risk, yung mga may comorbids. What are comorbids? Diabetics, hypertensives. They started in China to expand the use of Sinovac. Dinamihan na po yung mga binibigyan ng Sinovac in China. So in November po, Sinovac published in the Lancet. That is a very prestigious po medical journal, and it is reviewed po by some of the best doctors in the world. And they published po the data of phase 1 and phase 2. And this is the 743 healthy persons aged 18 to 59 years old. And after the second dosing, they measured the antibodies of Sinovac after the infection. So what they found out po was that there was a modest number, not so many antibodies, but meron po. So in November 19, Brazil stopped Sinovac for a few days, but again, nag-continue. In December 29, the efficacy of Sinovac in Brazil, dito po nalaman was reportedly 50.9%. And they were vaccinating po healthcare workers in Brazil. In December 24, Turkey published naman po their data, or naglabas po ng data ang Turkey, 91.25% efficacy naman po. And I will explain later during the questions what is the meaning of efficacy. In January 7, Brazil came out with more data. putting the number at 78%. On January 11 po, Indonesia, because diba, the trials were being held in Indonesia, Indonesia approved the use na po of Sinovac in Indonesia. And yung ano po sa Indonesia, they decided to vaccinate po the healthy population of 18 to 59 years old. So Indonesia approved Sinovac for persons 18 to 59 years old. In January 13, Turkey approved Sinovac already. So the following presidents were vaccinated po with Sinovac. That includes Indonesian President Joko Widodo, was publicly received a Sinovac shot. President Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey was also vaccinated po with Sinovac uh, last January. So last February, Indonesia approved Sinovac po for elderly persons. And currently, Sinovac is now being used in 15 countries all over the world. That includes the UAE. Marami nga pong mga Pilipino who came from the UAE reporting about Sinovac. Thailand has started Sinovac, Indonesia, and Chile, among others. In February, they started vaccinating po in China elderly healthcare workers. So on February 16 sa Hong Kong, Sinovac was also approved. And and they came out with data that 50 to 62% of persons were the efficacy was 50 to 62% of persons. And just this week, Sinovac arrived in the Philippines, and the first person, the first Filipino to be injected with Sinovac was UPPGH Director and Neurosurgeon Dr. Gerardo Gaspi. The second person to be vaccinated po was Dr. Edsel Salvania, who is the head of the NIH po in the Philippine General Hospital, and FDA Director Eric Domingo. After that, they started vaccinating na po the frontliner staff of the Philippine General Hospital. The next day, Lung Center, NKI, Asian, St. Luke's, and yesterday, my classmates in Cagayan de Oro were vaccinated also with Sinovac. So, yun po yung kwento ng Sinovac. To let you know about it, I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here po to tell you what happened. So, we are open po for questions, bate, concerns, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions about Sinovac. So, Sinovac it ba? Let's go. Thank you so much. So, ano kaya? Let's greet a few people first. Can somebody read this or no one's going to read this? Sorry, mahina po yung net ng mga moderators natin. Pagpasyensyahan nyo na po. Parang I think their net is not working. So, let's go.
Hello po. Rinig niyo po ba ako?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Lakasan lang po namin. Thank you, Miss
Okay
Chat.
po. Sige po. Medyo choppy lang po pero kaya naman po
We'll
yan.
do our best. Okay.
Oh, yes po. So, from Miss Aloha Big Bear Hug. Hello po, Doktora. Good morning po.
Ang cute naman. Happy morning to you, Aloha. What a cute name.
Yes. From Miss Felicidad Concepcion. Good morning, dear Dr. Ana.
Hi, ma'am. Kumusta po kayo, Ma'am Vice?
From Rian Abrantes Garfin. Watching from Bicol, the land of Padaraw Festival, Bulan, Sorsogon.
Wow, ang galing. Ang layo ni ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Nagbandigit pa ng festival. Ang ganda. Oo.
Opo. From Miss Lourdes Salas Alalayin. Hello po, Doctor. Question
Ma'am
po pala.
Lourdes.
Ask ko lang po, bakit bawal po sa senior ang Sinovac? Thank you po.
Well, that is a question that I posed to Dr. Edsel Salvania, who's the head of the NIH and also a distinguished professor at the UP College of Medicine. an infectious disease specialist. I said, Edsel, bakit sa China meron na pong meron na pong approval for seniors? And actually, there was an article that just came out etong February 11, which is a randomized study with seniors, and they were okay in China. So I asked him that. Sabi niya, it is the prerogative of every country's FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration, which is in different names po in different countries. Ano? So prerogative po nila to review the details of the studies. And then it is up to them to recommend kung saan po gagamitin yung Sinovac. So actually, kasi yung tinanong ko, ma'am, is why not seniors? And number two is is there a worldwide prohibition? So ang sinabi po sa akin talaga, there is no worldwide prohibition. Okay, wala po. Country per country po yung magdidesisyon. Sa atin po, they really stuck to the data kasi most of the data is from people 18 to 59 years old who were healthy. Kasi when we recruit persons po for a trial, hindi naman natin rene-recruit, sorry I don't want to say matanda eh. Hindi naman po, I mean, if you are gonna do a trial, you're gonna do it po talaga sa mga healthy muna. At number two, sa mga bata. And number three, it's a first time. You don't wanna be injecting, matanda. Ang sama eh. You don't wanna be injecting anyone over 59 years old kasi you really want to get yung yung healthy volunteers. So the data is from somebody 18 to 59 years old. But it is actually very reasonable po to extrapolate. Like ano bang difference between 59 and 60, 'di ba? So ayun ho, meron tinatawag na biological age, meron tinatawag pong physiological age. So sa China, I just wanted to inform you that they are already using it for seniors. In the Philippines, ang nangyari po is the senior healthcare workers, they had to sign that they know that they are seniors, that the Philippines FDA recommends it for those 18 to 59 years old. But because of the risk na baka ma-COVID po sila and ayaw naman nilang mamatay, then it's okay for them to receive Sinovac. So, I hope I answered the question. So, ito po sasabihin ko, it's not bad for seniors. The reason it was not approved in the Philippines for seniors is because the original trial was in younger persons. In China, they are now using it for older persons. In Indonesia, also for older persons. Okay? Indonesia recently expanded to include older persons. In the Philippines, I think they placed a notation there that if wala na pong, like if no other vaccines arrive, then it's okay to use Sinovac also for older persons with their knowledge. And again, I think as we know more about the vaccines and more people po receive this vaccine, including older ones, then we'll know more po about Sinovac. If I were an older person, would I take? Well, the question is, if I would I take Sinovac? My answer is yes. I'm not 18 to 50. I'm between 18 to 59 years old. And if I were an older person, my answer would still be yes. Because hindi naman pinakitang bad po eh. Ang nangyari, kulang lang po yung data. Okay? But on the other hand, dumating na po yung AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca, I think, might be approved for older.
Okay, so may nagpadala po ng question. Doktora, talaga po bang there's worldwide shortfall vaccines?
Siguro ang meaning niya shortfall or maybe shortage, ano? O is there a worldwide shortage
Mm-mm.
for vaccine? Oh, magandang tanong ito kasi it has something to do with the way Sinovac came to the Philippines, no? Marami pong nagsasabi na, okay, let's be frank, tuldukin na po natin yung problema, okay? A lot of people are suspicious about Sinovac because it came from China. And then the second problem po that they would not like, parang nag-aalanganin po sila is because parang lumalabas na no choice. Okay? Kasi at that time, wala pang AstraZeneca. Okay? So, the truth of the matter is, it is a pandemic. Number one, wag po nating kalimutan yan. Number two po, it is affecting the whole world. Number three, 7 billion po yung tao sa buong mundo. Ngayon, today. Okay? So, number four, hindi po kaya ng isang company to make a vaccine for all the 7 billion persons. Kasi sa sobrang dami po talaga ng demand. Okay? Number 5, the Philippines is a developing country. And unfortunately, all the first world countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, sila na po ang unang gumamit ng mga Pfizer, Moderna, yung mga ibang bakuna po, no? They bought it all. So wala na po talagang naiwanan for not only the Philippines, for the rest of the developing world. Okay? So, well, of course, if you were, I don't want to say bad, yung mga racist comments kasi, pero yun po yung naging preferred po ng first world, which is the Pfizer, the Moderna. Hindi po nila naging first choice yung Sinovac, okay? For various reasons, I don't even want to say for geopolitical reasons. So, aside from that po, no, the Chinese, they decided to, knowing that the first world countries would be buying, no, buying all the bakunas. And actually, these are the facts. 7 billion vaccines were already made, I think, doses, of which 5.3 were bought by first world countries. So, 70% of all the vaccines that have been made in the world have been bought. Meron na pong may-ari. Okay? And this is the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union. Okay? So that leaves only 30% for the rest of the world. So the Chinese po, they decided to donate yung Sinovac vaccine to the developing countries. That includes Chile, Philippines, at iba't iba pong mga middle-income countries who have the money to buy the vaccines, but there are no vaccines available kasi binili ho lahat ng US. In fact, there was a news report yesterday na by the May or I think June or July, something like that, they expect all the doses po for all Americans to arrive in the US. So, I mean, the facts of the matter is, nauna po yung mga mayayaman na bansa, and the Philippines is not, well, the Philippines is a strong country, but we are definitely not one of the richest countries in the world. So, even if we have the money at umutang naman po tayo, we don't have the vaccines to buy. So talagang no choice po tayo. This is a race against time kasi the longer po that we delay, the longer po na maraming mamamatay kasi may magkaka-COVID. Number 2, we cannot restart our economy. And this is the number 3 reason po kung bakit may sense of urgency ang bakuna is because every delay po, nagkakaroon po ng mga variants. And these variants are stronger than the regular COVID and more transmissible. So it becomes more dangerous. So it is a worldwide shortage, panic, emergency situation. And since China donated the Sinovac to us, and that's what is here, so yun po yun. If we're gonna wait for the vaccines that we like, or the vaccines that sa tingin natin ay mas maganda, well, matagal ho tayong maghihintay. So yes, there is a shortfall, shortage, ganun po, of vaccines in the world. And so we cannot be choosy because that's all that's there. So yun po yun. Yesterday, I was reading the newspapers. Eto po, Italy blocked AstraZeneca flight from Italy to Australia with AstraZeneca on board. So blinak po, blockaded in the airport po yung take-off ng flight. Galit na galit po yung Australia. But that's geopolitics talaga for you. So yun ang nangyari. So if you can imagine po, if the Italy and Australia are already fighting with each other, saan naman ho natin nilalagay ang Pilipinas dun sa away na yun? So reality bites, and yun na po yung nangyayari. Okay? So I hope that aside from health po talaga, may politika talaga dito sa bakunan to between countries. And actually, may tinatawag na po silang vaccine diplomacy. Okay?
Okay, next po. Doktora, tinignan ba ito ng FDA and how do we know it's safe?
Well, eto po, yeah, that's a very, very good question. And I think really the first question that we should all ask is about safety. Kasi katawan natin yun eh, or katawan ng lola natin, or katawan po ng kapatid natin, ng your husband who's a doctor, your wife who's a nurse, your kuya who's a security guard po sa PGH, yung anak niyo po na medical intern. So talagang pag-iisipan niyo po yun, ano? And that's really a difficult question po for vaccines kasi ano eh, ganito po yun eh. Why vaccines are very, very, very difficult also, no? Kasi po, when you get sick, you need the medicine to get better. And kung we all know, halimbawa na pulmonya ka, hindi ka nag-antibiotic, talagang baka mamatay. Okay? Pero may sakit ka na. Ang problema po talaga sa vaccines is someone is perfectly healthy. Wala sakit. Okay? Tapos babakunahan mo for a possible sakit. Yun ho yun eh. That's what makes vaccines very tricky. Kasi po, you start with a healthy person. Yung gamot po, yung antibiotic, yung pang-diabetes, yung pang-presyon, may high blood na yung tao eh. May diabetes na po yung tao, may infection na po yung tao, and they're taking those gamots to get better. Eto po talaga, wala sakit yung tao, bakunahan mo eh, to avoid getting sick. So, yun po yung ano dun eh, yun po yung the reason kung bakit sobrang kailangan mag-ingat. Kasi we're starting from a healthy person. Okay. So, how do we know it's safe? Well, in the vaccine process po talaga, people ask minadali ba yan? Well, actually, partially the answer would be yes. And the partially, pero minadali nga, pero pinag-ingatan din naman po. That is probably the correct answer. So, how do we know it's safe? Well, balikan po natin yung history po, no? The first persons who were injected, a phase 1 and a phase 2 trial po. Yung phase 1, is in-start po yan to make sure na walang mamamatay. So, konti lang ho talaga yan. And they even start po sometimes on animals pa just to make sure that everything is okay. So, they start to find out kung ano po yung tamang dosing, yung safety po. After the phase 1, konting-konti lang po talaga, nagiging 743, dumami na po. So, they were determining the efficacy, kung ano, gagawa ng antibody, the proper dosing, the ano po, kung ano yung side effects, ganon. So, talagang pinag-aralan po yan on 743 persons. And ano po talaga, tinutukan po talaga. Worldwide, all vaccines po, you might think it's fast, kaya lang, ang dami po thousands of people all over the world volunteered themselves as guinea pigs. Ayun po, pumayag ho yung mga tao doon just to help solve this pandemic. And all the distinguished scientists po, including those in China, na I'm sure nag-aral din po at mga dalubhasa, talagang tinutukan po itong si Sinovac. So, and then after that po, there were trials din po in Brazil, Turkey, and Indonesia. Wala naman pong grabing nangyari at wala pong namatay. And then when we came here po to the Philippines, the FDA, they reviewed po the data. The company po will share the data from different trials and different places. Pwede po nilang pag-aralan. And Hong Kong actually published something about Sinovac po in their decision-making process, which was also very, very helpful. So we are not relying po only on foreign opinion. There's called the Vaccine Expert Program din po ng DOH, pinag-aralan din po nila, ng FDA, pinag-aralan. These are Filipinos, pinag-aralan din po nila yung data that we receive. And again, everyone po who is receiving Sinovac in the Philippines, eto lang baka you're worried, yung proseso hindi po na babakunan ka, sige, uwi na ho kayo. Hindi po ganon, okay? They're gonna get your name, phone number, call you up, close monitoring, ganun ho yung proseso. And you will receive instructions on what to do after you get vaccinated and when you go home, what to expect. So talaga they're gonna get data on everyone. Kasi po, the phase 3, yun po yung talagang pag binakunahan na talaga yung maraming tao until phase 4. Okay? And phase 4 is the only time that they can do the marketing. So, nasa phase 3 pa lang ho tayo. We're actually part of a phase 3. And the reason po that we're doing this, um, getting everyone's cellphone, ano po, um, contact details, para po pag may mangyari, pwede ho kayong tawagan ng DOH right in your house. Okay? So, I would say it is reasonably safe. Okay? May na, kasi marami na, eto na naman, puntahan na naman natin. Marami pong nagagalit. Bakit huli po yung Pilipinas? Bla, bla, bla. Nag-umpisa na yung iba. Bla, bla, bla. Okay, maganda rin ho yun na nag-umpisa po sila kasi we can find out what happened there. O di imbestigahin natin what happened in Brazil, what happened in Turkey, what happened in Indonesia. And later on, we can find out what happened po sa Pilipinas. So it's kind of good naman po na may delay. Not naman such a long delay, ano, pero may nag-umpisa na po before us and we can learn from their experience. Okay?
Okay. Is this different po ba from Sinopharm?
Ang pagkaalam ko po, it's different, ano? But this is a good question. Hindi ko siya in-anticipate. Let me just check this. Yes, from what I know po, Sinopharm and Sinovac are different. Wait, ah. Iba po siya. Ayan. Confused between Sinovac and Sinopharm. Magkaiba po siya. Okay? Magkaiba po. Sinovac and Sinopharm are ano po two different, ayan. I know it's, chinek ko lang ho. Sinovac and Sinopharm are different. Okay? Pareho kasi nilang pinangalan ng Sino. Okay?
From Mr. Gerald Sombilio. Doktora, yung Sinovac po ba, how many percent ang efficacy compared to Pfizer and Moderna? May second dose din po ba ito? Thank you po.
Um, this is a very good question. Ang first name ba ni Gerald? Okay, Gerald. People always ask this how do we know na one vaccine is better than the other? Okay? Or I don't want this because I think this is better. Ang problema po kasi is, how do you compare, in science po, how do you compare two things? Okay? Sa science po, when we compare two things, like halimbawa, dalawang brand po ng paracetamol, okay? Or dalawang antibiotic. Kailangan po, i-compare po natin sila in the same trial. What does that mean? If we have drug A and drug B, okay, then we get the same number of people. Hopefully, like for example, sa Metro Manila, we will recruit 100 persons. All of them must be half boys, half girls. Age 18 to ganito, 59. Kailangan wala sakit. They all must live in Pasay. Parang ganon, the two groups, Group A and Group B, dapat they should be the same as much as possible. Hanggat maari po, sana nga magkapatid eh. Okay? Para talagang patas ho yung laban. Okay? Then we will give drug A or vaccine A to group A and vaccine B to group B. And then palalabasin po natin sila ng bahay, titingnan po natin kung sino po ang magkaka-COVID. Then iko-kumpara natin kung mas marami po si group A o mas marami po si group B. Okay? Ang problema, what's the problem? Sabihin niyo sa akin, doktora, bakit what happened? The Pfizer was conducted, the phase 3 of Pfizer was conducted in another place. The phase 3 naman po of Sinovac was conducted in Brazil, Turkey, and Indonesia. What I'm trying to say is, the trials of different vaccines were done in different places from different people. Kasi ano ba, I mean, for example, yung Pfizer ginawa sa Amerika, o ito pong Sinovac ginawa sa Brazil. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, magkapareho ba yung mga kanot tsaka mga Brazilian? Magkakaiba eh. Kasi ang COVID po, it not only depends on the subject, but a lot of it depends sa tao. For example, sumusuot ba ng mask yung mga binigyan ng Sinovac? Sumusuot ba ng mask yung mga binigyan ng ng Pfizer or Moderna or whatever, saan sila nakatira? Matindi ba yung COVID doon? Ano ba yung ugali nila? Nakikipag-inuman ba sila without mask? Do you get my point? What I'm trying to say is, the trials were conducted. Ang ano kasi, the trials were conducted po in different places. Never pa pong nagkaroon ng trial na pareho pong, halimbawa, ito si Moderna, ito si Pfizer, sabayan po silang binakunahan in the same place with the magkakapatids, all wearing a mask, ganon. That's the only way we will find out that one is better than the other. So, ito pong comparison na mas maganda yung Sinovac, mas maganda yung Pfizer, ganon-ganon. Hindi po natin masasabi yun kasi we are comparing apples and oranges. Iba si apple, iba si orange, okay? But the most important thing that we need to know po about the vaccines is, number one, dalawa po yung main outcome talaga na hinahanap po natin. Number one, na walang mamatay, and number two, yung severe COVID po, hindi po mangyayari. And all of the vaccines po that are currently under development have been found to be effective po for these two major outcomes. That is no ICU, no severe COVID, and no death. That's everybody is 90% po on that. So yun na lang po, malaking, super malaking bagay na po yun. Ngayon, whether Sinovac, kasi iba rin ho yung number sa Turkey, iba yung number sa Brazil, iba yung number sa Indonesia. So there are differing efficacies po. Pero hindi naman po talagang mababa. Okay? So, let's read the question of Gerald again para I just want to know that I answered all aspects of the question. Pakibasa lang.
Okay po. Doktora, yung Sinovac po ba, how many percent ang efficacy compared to Pfizer and Moderna? May second dose din po ba ito? Thank you po.
Okay. So, what percent is the efficacy compared to Pfizer and Moderna? In the terms po of the outcome of severe COVID and death, they have very, very similar efficacies. Okay? For the mild and moderate po, meron hong data sa Brazil that was 50.9%. But again, there is data naman po from other countries higher. So whether it is actually worse than Pfizer or Moderna, I cannot tell you that. What I can tell you is Pfizer, Moderna, and Sinovac all prevent severe COVID. Okay? Yes, they all need a second dose. The only vaccine right now that I know, there could be others, is J&J, Johnson and Johnson, which is a one-dose vaccine. Okay? I hope I answered the question. Ang haba na sagot ko. Simple ng tanong. Okay?
Okay, next. From Mr. Glenson Loyola. Kindly discuss po ang efficacy and effectiveness at efficiency ng bakuna po and how it is important to be vaccinated. Thanks po ulit.
Okay. Ano ba ang pag-usapan muna natin? Sige, unahin natin. Efficacy and efficacy, efficiency, no? And effectiveness. Okay.
Opo.
Yung magkaiba po yung effective sa efficacy. Yung efficacy means po yung nangyari sa laboratorio. Kasi po when we how it was able to stop COVID in a laboratory setting, yun po yung efficacy. Okay? What does that mean? Highly controlled po yung setting. Alam natin yung mga tao, more or less, talagang we watch over them closely, ganun po yun. And then we will see who developed COVID and who didn't. So usually it's a plus and a minus. Somebody got the vaccine, somebody didn't get the vaccine, and then they go out po and then we see kung ilan po sa kanila will develop mild, moderate, severe COVID or die. Yung ano naman ho, the effectiveness is pag marami ng tao. And then binakunahan po natin silang lahat. And then we will see who got COVID and who didn't. And the effectiveness, that happens po in the real world. Yun na po yung mangyayari sa as we vaccinate more and more people, we can see po the effectiveness po. Kasi the effectiveness is also, ano po, depends on the environment, yung attitudes, whether you wear mask, whether you eat out, whether you follow the social distancing. So marami na hong factors in the environment, in the culture, lahat po. That will tell us whether a vaccine is effective or not. What I can tell you po is all around the world po, nagulat po yung mga tao that the vaccines seem to be working kasi po like in the UK, pababa po yung numbers po ng kanilang COVID. Bumababa po. In the US, bumababa rin po. So that is also a sign po of effectiveness in the real world setting. Okay? So how important is it to be vaccinated? Super important po. Kasi we don't want to get COVID. But more than that, as I said, all the vaccines are severe, protective po against ICU, severe, and death. So it's very important to be vaccinated para hindi kayo mamatay, okay? And then secondly, so that's for yourself. There's also, vaccine is not only a personal choice, it is a choice po for the common good. Ano yung common good? Para matulungan po yung madlang tao at ang buong Pilipinas and including the world. If there is a time po in your life na you can help others, eto na yon. Kasi why is that? Kasi the more people po who get vaccinated, mas mabilis pong matapos po yung pandemya and we can get back to our normal lives and hopefully bumalik po yung ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. The more people po who don't want to get vaccinated, mas mahirap pa pong matigil itong pandemic na ito. So we are vaccinated not only for ourselves, not only for our families, but also po for humankind na, sabihin na natin. Not only for the Filipino nation, but for the good of all mankind. So si Pope Francis po was vaccinated and he said that vaccination po is the moral choice. What does that mean? It is a good thing to do and he is encouraging all Catholics po and all persons to be vaccinated. So, kung meron ho kayong gustong gawin para tumulong po sa madlang tao, magpabakuna po kayo. Ayan. Thanks, Glenson. That was a most beautiful question. Napakaganda. Ayan.
Yes po. From Miss Black Swan Ballerina, wow, ganyan nakikinig sa may alam. Hindi yung kuda ng kuda tas hindi naman alam. Thanks, Doktora. Ang ganda ng topic na na-share mo sa amin. Madaming input sa utak ko. Maraming salamat po.
Thanks, Miss Black Swan Ballerina. Um, Thank you so much. I mean, that's a very good thing. Ito lang I do not pretend to be the expert on everything. I read a lot. I ask a lot of questions from my classmates and friends who are experts. I actually asked Dr. Edsel Sabanya personally, yung ano ba, yung sa seniors, tinanong ko talaga yon. Sabi ko, Edsel, bakit walang seniors? So, I seek out experts also. We will get more persons to join us in the vaccine talks. And sometimes, it took me a long time po bago nag-vaccine talk. Kasi gusto ko alam ko lahat ng data ng lahat ng bakuna sa lahat ng mundo. Alam mo naman ang mga doktor, lalo na ako, I'm a perfectionist. Ayokong humarap ng tao na hindi ko alam lahat. Okay? And then, parang, ito lang yun and this is very important. Do not let perfect be yung kalaban po ng good. Kasi in my trying to be perfect, hindi tuloy ako nakakagawa ng talk. So what I'm trying to say is, I know some, what I don't know, we will research. What we don't know, we will ask the expert. Pero what we know, we will share po as best as we can. Okay? So, salamat po.
Okay, from Mr. Henry Olekino. Hello po, Dr. Ana. After matapos na po ma-vaccine ang mga medical frontliners, tapos mga senior citizen naman po, then yung sinasabi na sobrang mahihirap na mga kababayan natin, then after na po matapos na po ito, hopefully mapadali nga po ito para matapos agad. Now, dyan na po siguro papasok yung vaccine ng mga ordinaryong mga tao like me. Dahil ang sabi nga po ng Pangulo at dapat ma-vaccine ang lahat. Now, kung sa inyo pong assessment, aabot po ba ito ng mga 1 to 2 years bago ma-vaccine kaming mga last na mababa vaccine? Salamat.
Sir Henry, mahirap magsalita talaga ng patapos. because this is a pandemic and a lot of things, yung the situation is changing constantly. Well, the US has said nga, I mentioned earlier that by, I think June, July, or August, baka May pa nga eh. Basta, they will have all the vaccines, okay? So, how long? I don't know talaga. I'm just praying to the Lord na mabilis kasi para matapos na po ito and we can move forward. But we don't know po. The variants are coming. They're very scary po. They could be issues po regarding vaccination, but we don't know. I'm praying and hoping the faster po. So the sooner that we educate everyone, and hopefully marami naman pong pumayag na mabakuna, the sooner we'll be in a better place. So what I would like to say dun sa tanong na yon, um, a good question would be, what can I as an ordinary Filipino do about helping the Philippines stop this pandemic and the vaccine effort? Number one po, I'd like to say, every Filipino is important. Number two, you are important. Because what you say or what you do can impact po. Not, maybe you say, I'm not an influencer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a mayor, I'm just a daddy or a mommy. A daddy or a mommy po can influence their family. Kung kayo ang panganay, baka ma-influence nyo pa yung mga kapatid yung mas bata. Okay? So every person in this fight is an influencer. So what you should do po, no? Rely po, listen to trusted experts. Facebook is not a doctor. Your kapitbahay is not a doctor. Okay? And even some doctors are having problems. So listen to the government, listen po to trusted sources. Educate your kids, your family, your wife, your brother, your bayaw, your hipag. Kasi they respect you, lalo na po kung may trabaho kayo at maayos kayong tao. Okay? And when it comes the time po na mabakunahan kayo, dumiretso na po and get the shot. That alone, tumulong na po kayo sa Pilipinas, tumulong na po kayo sa mundo, at sabi po and you're also following Pope Francis. Okay? So thank you, sir. I'm praying mabilis.
From Mr. Glenson Loyola, is it possible that the mutation of interest in Region 7 can be formed as a new variant of COVID-19?
As of today po, no, as of yesterday, kasi reading the news, 52 variants na daw ang nahanap sa Pilipinas. And the bad news po is, we do not DNA sequence every single positive. Kumukuha lang po sila ng mga choices, parang random sampling. So, actually, we're going to have a talk on genome and how they sequence the COVID. Kasi gene sequencing po yan eh. Unfortunately, we don't sequence all the positives. So hindi ho natin alam kung may nagpa kasi 2,000 cases a day tayo eh. Hindi naman natin sini-sequence yung 2,000 na yun, pumipili lang po tayo. So it's possible that there's more variants than we could even know about. And number two is, yung sa Region 7, hindi ko pa po nababalitaan, but kung talagang totoong variant siya, oh my gosh, I'm hoping na hindi. Okay?
Okay, a greeting from your YouTube
Wait,
channel po, Doktora.
wow. Thank you for
Magan
joining us,
yes
Danielle, in
po.
YouTube. Question na
Oh,
gusto kong tanong yan. Is it
sige po.
possible that we could develop a Philippine variant? Ah, oh my God. Yes, it's possible, okay? The more we delay, the more chances na magkaroon ng mga variants dito. Kasi ito lang ang sasabihin ko, people are saying, it's my choice and I wanna wait. Ang tanong ko sa'yo, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for magka-COVID ka? Or are you waiting na may variant na dumating? Dalawa lang ho, yun eh. Why is the wait? You might tell me, Doktora, why can waiting produce variants? Okay? Ganito po kasi yon. As we fail to control our pandemic, let's say every day, 3,000 pa rin, then naging 4,000, then finally 5,000 a day na po tayo, then biglang naging 10,000. Sa bawat po, sa bawat na dumaan na araw po, may dumarating na Pilipino from abroad. Kasi we can't stop them, okay? And of course, and sad to say, we should be more strict. Pero may nakakalusot pa rin ho talaga. So, yung nag-abroad po yon, we don't know if they have the UK variant, the South African variant, the Brazilian variant, or any kind of variant. So every day, may pumapasok sa Pilipinas and these people could be bringing variants. Okay? So those are the foreign variants. Could there be a Philippines variant? Yes, kasi variants develop as the virus mutates in the body. Kasi every day po na the variant is in the person or the persons, habang dumadami po yung chance na as the virus regenerates. Ano ba yun? Regenerates, multiplies, dumadami si virus. Kasi from one virus that enters your body, it will suddenly become thousands. Kasi magre-reproduce po siya. Parang ano yun eh, parang mga ano eh. Parang viral po yung, that's why it's called a viral replication eh. Kasi it produces more and more COVID sa loob ng katawan nyo. As in massive amounts of COVID. And as they keep producing po COVID, gumagawa po ng yung code ng COVID, yung DNA and RNA, na everyday gumagawa. Sa mabilis po nagawa, nagkakamali o nagkakaiba po yung DNA code. Okay? And that's what we call a mutation. So the mutation could either make the virus weaker, upon which mamamatay na lang kasi humina siya, or it could make the virus stronger. That's what happened to the UK mutation, the South African mutation, and the Brazilian mutation. That the virus became so much stronger. Since the virus became much stronger, yun na ho yung pumairal sa lugar. So yun po yun. The longer that we delay, the more persons get COVID, it is possible po to develop your own mutation. Hindi po nakakatuwa yun. Or your own variant.
Okay. From Miss Mavis Ahemco. Hi, Doc. Thanks po for the info from Cagayan de Oro po. Nag-start na sila ng vaccine ng Sinovac.
Yes, yes, thank you. From Cagayan de Oro ka ba? Kumusta kayo dyan? My classmate, Dr. Nerd Ku and Dr. Jenny Celirio Ku, his wife, are both orthopedic surgeons po in Cagayan de Oro, and they were vaccinated po yesterday.
Wow, that's very nice. So from Mr. Alex Santos Vicente. Good morning po. Watching po from Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Sir Alex, thank you for joining us po from Riyadh.
From Miss Maria MC. Hello, Dr. Anna. Watching from Palawan, Puerto Princesa City. Ang galing po ng explanation ninyo. More powers.
Thanks, ma'am. I try, it's hard talaga to explain yung mga science talaga. Kasi malalim to eh. Kami
Opo.
na rin po, very highly trained. We still have to read and listen. I listened to so many expert lectures po before I did this.
Okay. Next question po. From Mr. Ricardo Manuel. Doktora, yung pong nag-positive sa COVID na naka-recover, kailangan pa ba siyang magpabakuna kahit senior na siya?
Actually, that's a very good question po, no? And something that must be discussed. When you recover po from COVID, you develop po antibodies to COVID. Okay? So, these antibodies po, ito po yung lumaban dun sa COVID ng katawan nyo and ultimately, sinapak-sapak niya si COVID na matay, no? So, you now have antibodies in your system. Aside from antibodies po, what are antibodies? Antibodies are fighter cells in the blood. Ito po yung lumaban dun sa COVID nyo para you recovered, okay? Aside from that, there are two other kinds of cells, memory cells, T cells, and B cells, other kinds of fighter cells po, na parang nakilala na niya yung magnanakaw si COVID. Kilala na kita, Pag bumalik ka dito sa katawan na to, nag-aaway tayo. So that's how a person who got a virus is considered immune. But considered having to have recovered and then immune. Ang tanong po talaga, sir, is how long does this immunity last? And ano po, is this lifelong o bumababa po yung amount of antibodies sa ating katawan? Okay? Studies have shown from the recovered patients po na yes, there are antibodies, but no, they do not last for a really long time. So yun po yun eh. Magre-recover po kayo, but yung immunity nyo is not perpetual. And number two po, ito nga ang variants na nakakatakot. Sa Brazil po, in the city of Manaus, because sobrang lakas po ng variant na dumating po doon, pati po yung mga nagkaroon ng COVID dati, nagkaroon ng COVID uli. So the variant was so strong that it fought the antibodies that you have in your body and produced a new COVID again. So, eto po yon. This is the point. No, we do not know how long is the natural immunity from having had COVID. It seems to be modest. Pero yung sa bakuna po, because it is from ano po it's from sa bakuna po, the antibodies that you form last longer than the antibodies that you normally form. So that's why they are recommending po na even if you have COVID, it would be good to be vaccinated. If you are a senior, better pa rin to get vaccinated po, even if you had COVID before. Because the antibodies and immunity that we get from the natural disease is not as long lasting as the ones from the vaccine.
Okay, from Black Swan Ballerina. Tama po, Doktora. Mayroon pong concern ang mga government natin. Siyempre, nadala na tayo sa previous vaccine, kaya tama lang na mag-ingat muna.
Yes, ma'am, we should take care, but on the other hand, we should realize that delaying po can cause you to get COVID and die or can cause variants po to occur. And number three, can slow down the recovery po of the Philippines. So, yung mga sinasabi ng mga taong we don't judge those who are waiting, hindi po namin kayo ginajudge. Sinasabihan po namin kayo that it's dangerous to wait.
Okay, from Miss Paige Rihanna. Hi, Doc. Thanks so much for this info.
Paige, kumusta ka?
From Miss Josie Modelo. Oh, I just got my Sinovac vaccine, Doctora, yesterday.
Wow, ma'am. Congrats. Ma'am, i-share mo naman, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Saan po kayo nabakunahan, ma'am? Opo. Are you a nurse? Are you a doctor? Ayan.
From Black Swan Ballerina. Sobrang ganda ng info ni Dr. Ana. Sana malaman lahat ng buong Pinoy.
That's good, ma'am. Eh, kung gusto niyo pong malaman, then there's only one answer. Like and share. O, diba?
Yes po. From Mr. Lucky Joshua S. Cepilio. Who can be not allowed to be vaccinated? Pag nagka-COVID na po ba, bawal na? What any factors would say hindi pwede ang isang tao to get vaccine? Salamat, Doc.
Who should not be vaccinated? Or who cannot be allowed to be vaccinated? Well, first of all, wala naman who not allowed. It's a matter of personal choice. Pero again, pandemic ho talaga eh. So we really have to encourage everyone po to be vaccinated. At the moment, the ones who should not be vaccinated are children because we're still waiting for more data. Yun lang po. But almost everyone should be vaccinated po. Unless those with allergies should consult their doctors. Those with comorbid conditions po, anong comorbid? Cancer, ganun po, hypertension, diabetes should consult their doctor, but they actually should be vaccinated. And in the US, sila pa nga ho ang first na dapat bakunahan. And then, if you have active COVID, you should not be vaccinated. I mean, like if you have COVID today and tinawag ka to be vaccinated, don't go. Kasi mahahawa po yung magbabakuna sa'yo. So I guess those are those who shouldn't be vaccinated.
Okay. From Miss Jubilin Goricho Maglangke. Doktora, bakit po ganun? Walang screening sa vaccine. Kasi ganito, masaya na sana kasi free ang bakuna na makukuha ko. Pero doc, buti na lang wala pa ako sa site. May nakasalubong ako and I'm not sure kung doktor siya. Naglakas loob ako nagtanong. Kasi naka-uniform naman siya ng isang doktor. May tanong po ako, pwede po ba akong bakunahan kahit carrier ako ng Hepa B? Agad-agad niya ako sinagot, "Ay, hindi pwede." Buti na lang pala, Doc, nakapagtanong po ako.
How is HEPA B related to the vaccine?
Yun po.
Um, wala pa po akong, let me check this on the internet, but I have not honestly read that people with hepatitis should not be vaccinated. Let me check this, okay? Wala naman pong prohibition about hepatitis. Let me check lang po because I don't want to be the last, ano po.
Okay po.
Opo, i-check ko lang po. Sandali lang. And ma'am, ito lang ang sasabihin ko ah. Um, just because someone is wearing a white uniform does not mean that he or she is a doctor. That person could be a
Yun na
yaya.
nga po.
Or it could
Opo.
be summer at mainit. Okay? Tanungin nyo lang ho muna siguro, who are
Kung
you and why
doktor.
did you say that? Opo. Ah, Opo. Nakalagay po talaga na ano po, in the US, for hepatitis B and liver disease, they are okay to receive Moderna and Pfizer. I cannot imagine naman ho that there was something about Sinovac. Wala pa ho akong nababasa. But you are welcome to post po any data about hepatitis and Sinovac and para malaman natin din hong lahat. Pero ang number one issue po, ma'am, hindi natin po alam kung doktor po yun. Sana tinanong niyo po bakit. And that's also the reason why advice ko po talaga, if you have a disease na ganon, you have to talk to your doctor, not just any doctor. You have to talk po talaga dun sa doctor po na nagtitreat sa inyo. Hindi lang po yung nakita nyo po sa daan. Kasi marami yung tanong like, how long have you had hepatitis? What is the active status po ng inyong hepatitis? May hepatitis, are you confined to hepatitis B at naninilaw na yung mata nyo as we speak? Kasi kung talaga naman hong liver cirrhosis na kayo and naka-ICUable or something, hindi na siguro dapat bakunahan yung taong yun at that moment. So there's a lot of things that we have to say and know. Ako po, I don't know kung ano po yung status niyo. Opo. So before we just ask anyone, siguro po yung pinaka-doctor nyo, ma'am. Yun ang dapat. And as for this person who said that, sana lininaw nyo ho kung bakit. Okay? And if you know something, don't hesitate to post it po dun sa comments para po mapag-aralan din po namin. Okay?
Okay. From Miss Christy Villanueva. Thank you po sa info, Doktora. God bless you more.
Thanks, ma'am. Ma'am Jubilin, I like your question though, and I'm going to do more researches po about hepatitis and COVID vaccines. Though I did read just right now na Moderna and Pfizer is actually okay for those po with chronic hepatitis. Pero pag-aaralan ko rin po yan, ma'am. From Christy, thank you, Doctora, and God bless you more. Thanks, Christy. Miss Kat, are you still there or na-disconnect ka ba? Parang nawala po yung ating moderator. Mag-isa na lang tayo ngayon.
Doktora. Ay,
Wait
ayan na
lang.
po ata si Ate Reyna.
Ah,
Hello?
okay. Okay. Let's just continue, Kat.
Okay po. From Poverty Levine. From each Goding po, can you still get the vaccine kahit nag-COVID positive ka na?
Yes, ma'am,
Thank you po, Doc.
actually. Opo.
Okay. Next po. From Miss Viel del Rosario Gonzalez. Yung mga immunocompromised po ba ay pwedeng magpabakuna?
Maganda pong tanong yan. In the US, ah, ganito po yun eh. The thinking po in the US is, um, the immunocompromised should be vaccinated po kasi kayo po yung may possibility, hindi naman sa nananakot po, no, but just sa totoo lang, if you are immunocompromised po, yung risk nyo po of severe COVID and death is much higher. Okay? So, talaga pong in the US, they are really, hinahanap po talaga nila yung mga immunocompromised. So, in the Philippines, the EUA of Sinovac is for those po who are healthy. The emergency use authority. I think we will know more about this disease, about Sinovac, as we continue to vaccinate and baka po mag-iba po yung warning. With regards naman po sa Astra, may nakalagay po na pwede pong mabakunahan yung mga may comorbid diseases. Basta controlled lang po yung kanilang disease. Okay? So, my gut feel po to this question is, should immunocompromised be vaccinated? I would go with the US na mas lalo pa nga ho silang may risk na namatay. Pero sa Philippines, we are going po first, the Sinovac got approved for the healthy persons. Ito naman ang wala namang masama doon for the 18 to 59 healthy persons, okay? Sa akin, there's nothing bad about that 18 to 59 healthy persons. Bakit? Kasi po, um, let's think about this, okay? In the abroad po, the immunocompromised and the mga may edad, I don't like to say matanda, they live in the nursing home. And magkakasama po sila doon. So pag may pumasok po na isang COVID, talagang magkakalat po doon kasi there's 100 people in one facility. In the Philippines po, though we have nursing homes, hindi naman ho ganun karami. And most of our elderly and our loved parents and grandparents are staying in your house. 'Di ba? Lahat naman ho tayo may kasamang mommy, lola, tita in our house. Okay. So, if you vaccinate the 18 to 59 years old, 'di ba they are the ones who leave the house. Kasi po they need to go to work. So, in the Philippines, most of the elderly got sick because somebody left the house para magtrabaho. Okay? Or the immunocompromised got sick because somebody left the house para magtrabaho. Which is perfectly understandable kasi paano naman ho tayo magkakaroon ng pera if we're all there in the house? Kailangan may kumayod. Okay. So, kung babakunahan ho natin lahat ng kumakayod, which is 18 to 59 years old and healthy, then we can achieve two things. Okay? Which is actually good. Wala naman pong masama dito. We can achieve two things. Ano yon? Number one, wala na rin ho magkakasakit na matanda. Kasi kung hindi po lalabas yung mga may edad sa bahay, hindi sila magkakasakit, di ba? And number two is, wala naman ho, di ba sabi natin, Reyna, kung walang lumabas, may pumasok. Eh kung yung pumasok, lahat na bakunahan, so then that's fine. So, makaka-achieve po tayo ng two goals, ano? We will be able to vaccinate the young and the healthy, and they can go to work. And by going to work, they can start the Philippine economy. So wala naman pong masama na the Sinovac got approved po for the young and the healthy. Kasi yun ho yung magtratrabaho. Yun po yung magbubuhay ng ating economy. And number three, yun din naman ho ang lumalabas at nagdadala, and nai-infect sa work. And nadadala po yung infection sa bahay. So, ganun po.
Okay, from Adorable. Good morning po, Doktora. Mayroon na po ba tayong schedule ng vaccination sa Pampanga, specifically District 4, and would it be free?
Ma'am, right now po, ang cute eh. I don't know if it's Mom Adorable or Sir Adorable. But it's
Yeah.
very cute. That's okay. Opo. Oo. Well, let's just say ma'am, okay? Or ano. right now, the government is concentrating po muna on the frontliners. Kasi po, ito talaga yung nakaharap po ng COVID sa araw-araw. Okay? After that, marami pa hong debate who's gonna come next. Okay? Kasi meron hong may nagsasuggest na unahin po. Kasi ako, I live in the province eh. So, wala pa po ho talagang wala pa hong sinasabi ang gobyerno uh, moving out of the frontliners. Kasi kung ang dumating po is really like this 120 million Filipinos. So wala pa po talagang schedule for Pampanga. Though I know nagre-ready na po lahat ng ating wala pa po talagang specific for District 4. Marami pong debate right now on whether we should concentrate on Metro Manila first. Kasi we live in the province, hindi ka ba nakakahalata? Saan ba galing lahat ng Saan ba galing lahat ng infeksyon? Number one, those from abroad, and number two, from Metro Manila. Wala naman umusbong lang doon sa lugar natin eh. Sa amin po, we chase infections every day coming from people who went somewhere. Okay? So, nagkakaroon po ng debate ang IATF whether dapat bakunahan ng buong Metro Manila muna kasi most of the urban areas nakalat na po ang COVID. Kasi pag konting-konti lang po yung mga bakuna, why are we going to vaccinate a place na walang ka-COVID-COVID ni isa like um, extremely up north po. So, yun po yun. No schedule yet po for the provinces. Frontliners po muna talaga. And then the IATF po is discussing on how to move forward from that. Pero rest assured po na pag meron na po, you will be the first ones to be informed and we will be educating people po kung ano po yung proseso. Okay?
Okay, from Miss Black Swan po ulit. Sana po mayroon ganito na i-share sa bawat barangay sa bansa natin. Educating the whole Filipinos about the COVID vaccine, like Sinovac and other vaccines, para naman lahat magkaroon ng vaccinations para makabalik na tayo sa normal na pamumuhay.
Ay I'm presuming ballerina. Okay, ma'am. I truly agree with you. It should really go to every barangay. Pero ang advice ko naman po sa mga nakikinig sa atin, there is also the power of one person. Okay? Kasi lahat po tayo may kilala. Okay? At lahat po tayo may sarili-sarili po tayong influensya. If you find out that this is helpful to you, please share it po. And itag niyo po yung mga kaibigan niyo so that they can share it din po. It's the time po of social media. Ang meaning po nito, all of us have the power to spread the good. And again, all of us also have the power to spread bad news. I don't mean bad news, I mean fake news. So sana,
Yes po.
'di ba? Pili-piliin po natin. If you found it helpful, please spread it. If you found
Yes po.
yung mga fake news, pag-isipan ho natin whether we should spread it or not. Pero ma'am also, ma'am Black Swan, the government is also trying. Marami rin hong government programs. Kaya lang, ako, kuminsan kasi ako nakatira sa barangay, my barkada is mga tanod, yung kausap ko po nagbabantay ng itik. Okay, there's so many barangay tanods in my house. Okay, and the BHW. So alam ko po yung the information given by the government is really excellent. I also watch a lot of DOH, DILG. Ang napapansin ko lang po, sometimes masyadong technical. Okay, and yung husband ko po is really an expert on this. Sabi po niya, people don't need to know everything. They just need to know that it's safe and that it works. And that we can help others. Malaking bagay na po yun.
Okay. From Miss Erna Lorca Exmundo. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po. Dok, tanong ko lang po, yung bibigyan po ba ng vaccine ay yung nag-positive sa COVID or kahit hindi positive bibigyan ba ng vaccine?
Ma'am, lahat po ng all citizens of the Philippines po talaga ang target po talaga natin. So we are 120 million persons po. So, tagal po nun talaga. That will take some time. Our target po is all Filipinos. So, yun po yun.
Okay, eto na po yung kay Miss Josie Modelo, yung nagpa-vaccine na po. Hi,
Okay.
Doktora. I take my Sinovac vaccine after watching some of your live video here. And aside from this, ano to? And aside from that, your daughter of Mom MVP, your mom, which is my former employer, during my Sheridan Florist time way back. Thanks for the info. So I can say you're one of the person whom I trusted why I took this Sinovac vaccine, watching from Pasay.
Wow, nabakunahan si Ma'am sa Pasay. Oh, wow, Ma'am, that's great. Congratulations po. Thank you so much for watching. Former employee pa pala ng mommy ko. So, I'm
Mhm.
praying ho for the best and for your safety din po, Ma'am.
Yes po. From Miss Joanne Viray Escoto, watching from Las Piñas, thanks for the information.
Thanks, Ma'am.
From Miss Jubilin Goricho Maglangke. Kung ganun po, Doktora, sayang po yung pagkakataon na sana bakit sinabi na bawal ako bakunahan. Tapos, hindi po, Doktora, kaya nga po nagtaka ako kasi wala naman ako nararamdaman pero alam ko na carrier ako. Kasi po sa dugo ang Hepa B dahil nga hindi ako naninilaw at malakas resistensya ko.
Ma'am, I'm glad that you're healthy and that you have a good resistance. Um, ang advice ko sa inyo ganito, sino ba naman yung nagsabi nun? You know what? If you are a medical personnel po, alamin niyo ho muna talaga yung buong kwento po ng tao before you tell him yes or no. Kasi po, it needs a complete assessment po. Hindi po pwede yung nagdaanan lang po kayo sa daan and then magsasabi po kayo ng gano'n. I'm so glad, Ma'am Jubilin, that you're healthy. My best advice po sa inyo is consult po yung doctor niyo po sa HEPA. Tama po kayo, nasa dugo po yun. That's how it's measured. Consult po yung doctor niyo sa HEPA. Tanungin niyo po, sabihin niyo, Doc, ito po, I mean, siguro makilala naman kayo, di ba? So ask them, can I be vaccinated? My answer po would be yes. But again, I'm not your doctor. So, ano po, it's better to consult po yung doctor niyo. And not just anyone po that you see. So, it's a good thing po na nagtaka po kayo. That's not, ano po, the best person is your personal doctor po.
Okay po.
Ito
Inuulan
lang,
po
if
tayo.
you don't have a doctor for Hepa B, just ask me. My classmate is one of the best po sa Pilipinas.
Okay. From Surge Tips. Ma'am, kaka-join ko lang. What about sa may diabetes po?
Ang advisory po talaga, Sinovac was approved in the Philippines po for 18 to 59 who are healthy. Ngayon, AstraZeneca was approved, I think, for seniors with some comorbid conditions, pero dapat po controlled. So, at the moment, the diabetics should be taking AstraZeneca. But that might change po. That might change. Okay? Okay.
Hello.
Um, okay.
Rinig po ba?
Yep.
Okay. From Miss Cindy Abines Cantillo. I don't know if lumilitaw po or hindi sa screen eh. Basahin ko na lang
It's
po.
okay.
Hello po, Dr. Anna. Are all vaccines free for all of us or only for frontliners?
Yan ang hindi ko pa alam, ma'am. Pahatid na lang. Sorry guys, the tutor
From
Benji
Mr.
is
Fred
asking
C.
me a question. Sorry guys, the tutor Benji.
Ayan, hi Doktora, we're back. Nagkakaroon talaga ng technical glitches, ano po? Si Kat
Ganyan
din po
talaga, wala
kakabalik
akong
lang.
magagawa. Oo.
Opo.
Doktora, nabasa na po natin yung kay Mr. Fred C.
Hindi pa, go.
Naku, nawala yata. Okay. From Mr. Fred C. Good PM. May I ask po if a person with ankylosing spondylitis safe to be vaccinated? Thank you.
My feeling po is yes. But again, sir, I would consult your rheumatologist. And it depends din po if you're taking certain medicines which could be immune modulating. So, dapat po consult po si rheumatologist niyo po.
Opo.
But sa akin, sa unang basa ko po, I wouldn't see any major reason kung bakit hindi.
Tama naman po, Doktora. Okay, from Miss Josie Modelo. Thank you po at napansin ang message ko. I'm not a nurse po. I'm a BHW in our barangay, which I'm working at Kalayaan Health Center here in our barangay. I took my vaccine at Pasay West High School in Pasay City before I got my vaccine. They have a screening, then interviewed us, then get our BP, then some lectures. They will discuss what could be possible to encounter after getting the shot, and then they will tell you what to do and ask us to stay at least 1 hour at least. Yun po. So she's sharing her experience, Doktora.
Ang ganda naman ng
Opo.
kwento ni ma'am. I really like this. Kasi 'di ba sometimes we keep focusing on the hospitals, the doctors, ganon. You know what? Ang mga BHW, yun ang number one na katulong natin sa pandemyang ito. Kasi sila talaga yung umiikot sa barangay, and then they are the ones monitoring also kung kayo po ay talagang nag-isolate po ba. Aside from that, they are also the ones who conduct the basic seminars po sa mga nanay, sa mga, yan ang naghahanap ng mga babakunahan ng mga kids. So, I think it's a really great idea to vaccinate po yung mga BHW. Kasi pagdating ho ng bakunang maramihan, number one, sila po ang maghahanap ng mga tao sa bahay-bahay po para mabakunahan. And number two po, they are a great inspiration. Biro mo, sila buhay pa after the bakuna. So, kilala mo sila mismo. So, kung yung kakilala mo mismo was vaccinated and is still alive, then ikaw din magkakaroon ka ng personal po na lakas ng loob. It's really good. Congratulations. Another thing that I picked up from her statement, hindi lang ho basta bakuna ho ng bakuna kanan at kaliwa. May education po yung gobyerno, and I like that. And then number 3, I like also the fact na kinuha pa yung mga BP, inobserve yung mga tao. I hope they took their cellphone number so that and gave them a number po to call so that kung may problema, pwede pong tumawag. Very good. At saka maganda ho sa Pasay kasi nandun ho. In fact, may granular lockdown na ata sa Pasay.
Okay, sandali po, Doktora ha.
Opo.
Ito po, from Miss Surge Tips. Ma'am, kakajoin ko lang, paano po ang may diabetes? Safe po ba sa vaccine?
Before I answer that, no, we'll be ending in a few minutes. We're just gonna pick up the rest. May questions pa ba or is this the last?
Doc, mga dalawang questions. Ay, actually, tatlo po. Or let's pick it up.
Yes, kasi,
It's 1
lunchtime.
a.m., 1 p.m. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, we started at 11. Okay, guys. So the question is diabetics. Again, right now, Sinovac is only for those who are 18 to 59 and are healthy. Astra po, managed comorbids, that includes diabetics, pwede po. So, I would consult your doctor, but sa US po, diabetics are actually mas priority. Kasi po pag magkasakit po kayo ng COVID, the chances of it being severe are quite high. Ayan po.
Doc, let's just pick up the last 3 questions for the next bakuna series.
Yes, for the next po.
Here.
Opo. So sa inyo po lahat, thank you so much for joining us. I hope I provided some information po about Sinovac. That is in the internet, but most people don't know it po. Some of them I got from my classmates din po and from experts. So sa inyo po lahat, please, nakakatakot po yung mga bumabalitang nagkakaroon po ng maraming variants. Kasi these variants can be deadly and very nakakahawa. So sa inyo pun lahat, I hope that you stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much. Ingat po.